All right, everybody. So what we're going to focus on today is writing the lowercase letters E, L, T, I, and H. So if you refer back to the presentation, there are a few lines that we need to understand before we can start writing these cursive letters. The top line is called our headline. The middle line is called our midline. And our bottom line here is called the baseline. Down here is actually the next line's headline, but we're actually going to call that the top line's descender line because some letters kind of swoop down. And so we're going to need to use that space below the baseline, and that's called our descender line. So you can use handwriting paper like I have here, or you can actually use just regular lined paper. And I'm actually going to show you on the regular lined paper. I'm going to have these kinds of papers attached into Edsby for you. If you want to download them and print them and write on there, that's fine. But if you don't want to do that, or you can't, you might not have a printer at home, I'm going to show you how you can do it on regular lined paper. So I'm actually going to zoom in just a little bit so you can really clearly see the lines on here. And I just wrote the date on the top and the letters that we're going to cover. E, L, T, I, and H. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark my 3 lines. I'm kind of going to make a bracket here. Okay. And this top part of the bracket is my headline. This line in the middle here is going to be my midline. And then down at the bottom is going to be my baseline. And this space down here, if I need to go underneath, which none of these letters are going to need that today, but I'm going to leave that space there for my descender line if I needed it. So for lowercase e, I'm actually going to mark where I'm going to be using my lines. And for an E, it's kind of going to look like a lowercase l, and we're going to show you how it comes together. So for the E, you're going to start at the baseline. You're going to make a stroke upward to the midline, come around with a swoop, and then we call it our exit. Okay, our exit is the line that we make on the way out of the letter. So I'll show you. Start at the baseline, go up to the midline, and then swoop. And that's our exit. So it kind of looks similar to an actual lowercase e if we were to put them together. So again, you just come up and swoop. Come up, swoop. Come up, swoop. Come up, swoop. Come up, swoop. And you could practice about 6 or 5 times. I like to do 6. It kind of makes it even, or until you just get to the end of the page. So that's 7 for me. So that is the lowercase e. The next line, I'm going to skip down actually 2 lines so that we can make a good separation here. I'm going to mark off my headline, my midline, and my baseline. And the next letter we're going to tackle is the lowercase l. Okay, that's what it looks like when we write it in print. So instead of stopping at the midline, we're actually going to start at the baseline and go all the way up to the headline and then swoop down for our exit. So we're going to start at the bottom, swoop up, exit. Start at the bottom, go all the way up to the headline, back down, exit. And repeat, and repeat. You're just going to repeat that all the way until you get to the end of your page. I could probably fit another one in there, but I'm not going to. Okay, so that's L. Now we're going to move on to T. So I'm going to drop down 2. I'd like you to practice. Oh, I'm going to actually go above. Okay, I'd like you to practice writing the brackets. So if you don't have the handwriting paper, if you're using the lined paper like I am, I want you to practice with the brackets so that way you know where your lines start and stop, okay? So the T is going to start at the baseline. It's going to go through the midline, just like the L, all the way up to the headline. But with the T, we're going to cross on the midline. Okay, so we're going to start at the baseline. We're going to go all the way up. we're not going to take it around. We're not going to swoop around. We're actually going to come down the same line that we made going up, and then we'll cross it over. So let me show you what that looks like. So we're going to start at the baseline. We're going to go up to the headline. Then we're going to kind of follow the same line going down. We're going to exit. After we exit, we're going to come back to the midline for our cross across the T. So we're going to go up to the headline, down, exit, cross. Up to the headline, down, exit, cross. Headline, down that line again, exit, cross. Now the reason why we have an exit stroke is because our exit stroke is what is going to connect into the next letter, because in cursive, you don't pick up your pencil after every letter like we're used to. You actually have to connect your letters together, so you pick up your pencil less frequently. Okay, so that's T. Pretty simple. We're starting off with some pretty easy letters just to get us in the hang of it. Now, I'm going to move on to the lowercase I. So I'm going to bracket that off. Now the I, as we can tell, is actually not going to go up all the way to the headline. So we're going to start at the baseline and we're going to stop at the midline. The dot above the I is going to just go right above the midline. So we're going to start, and just like that T, we're going to go up and we're kind of going to go down the same line that we make until we swoop out for our exit. So we're going to start here. And we're going to go up to the midline, down the same line, swoop out to exit. And then just like how we had to go back after we exit to cross the T, we're going to go back and dot our I. Start at the bottom, midline, down, exit, dot. Start at the baseline, midline, down, exit. Okay. Now, there's one thing that I want you guys to notice is all of my letters aren't really super straight up and down. Okay, there's kind of a slant to them. And when you're writing in cursive, you write slanted. It just, because you're holding the paper, is just the way I'm filming, it's not super sideways for your angle, but my paper is turned to the side. And the way that we're writing is just the tip of the pencil is just on its side here. So we're usually writing in a slant. So let's go back to the I's. Up to the midline. Boom, boom. Oh, I almost made that a little too wide. That's why we practice. Practice makes progress, right? Yes. Okay. All right. So that was the lowercase I. Now, the last letter that we're going to do is an H. So I'm going to go down. And again, it's going to be pretty similar to the print H. Nothing is really going to change. So we're going to start at, oh, I'm sorry, I'm writing here. We're going to start down at the baseline. And then we're going to go through the midline all the way up to the headline. And then we're going to come down, swoop up to the midline, and then exit, okay? So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Before we actually start at the bottom, we're going to start a little bit differently, okay? Because what we're going to do is we're actually going to start like right below the midline for this H, okay? Or to make it easier, we might, just since we're starting out, we're going to start at the bottom here. So the H, you're going to come up, and then this is where it gets a little tricky because you're going to kind of swoop around like an L. And then when you come down to the baseline again, you're going to draw your pen up to the midline, down again, and exit. Okay, so let me show you that again. We're going to start. Let me make sure, it would help if you guys could see that. Sorry. We're going to start down at the baseline. We're going to draw our pen up like we're going to the headline, swoop around like an L. But instead of stopping there and exiting like we would for an L, we're going to go back down to the baseline. Then we're going to go up to the midline and then down for the exit. okay? And then we're just gonna keep doing that. We're gonna go down to the bottom, baseline, midline, exit. Start at the baseline, go headline, down to the baseline, midline. It's kind of just writing an H. Instead of starting at the top, we're starting at the bottom, and then we're going up to the top to finish the rest of the H. Start at the bottom, up, like an L. Instead of swooping out like we would for an L, we're gonna come back up and then exit. Up, down to the baseline, midline, exit. One more. Up to the headline, down to the baseline, midline, and exit. Okay, so those are the 5 letters that we're gonna work on today. We're gonna get a new 5 letters tomorrow. What you guys are gonna do is either on your own sheet of paper or on the handwriting paper that I provide in Edsby, you're going to write these letters about the same number of times as me. So I would say no less than, let's see how many H's I got in here. Okay, because I got a small notebook. So there's 7 H's here. So I want you to practice writing the letters 8 to 10 times. Okay, because the more you repeat the strokes of the letters, the easier it's going to be and the better your letters are going to look. So the more practice you put in, the better everything is going to turn out. And at the end of the week, what we're going to plan on doing is trying to combine some of these letters into making words. So if you guys want to give yourself a bonus lesson, why don't you try and make some of the words here with these letters? So for example, I could write hi. Okay, so I just connected the letters because I said that exit stroke is going to be the intro into your next letter. You could write hill. I'm going up the hill. H-I-L-L. Hill. Okay, so you can practice writing some words with these letters if you wanted to, but I just need you guys to be focusing on writing each letter 8 to 10 times. So I can't wait to see what you guys do. Make sure you submit it and upload it into Edsby.